Hello and welcome along to another crowdproperty.com funding opportunity. Today we're going to Bridge House, Station Road in Lichfield, WS13 6HX. Now, Crowd Property is a peer-to-peer lending platform designed to facilitate loans between private individuals and professional property businesses. Crowd Property is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority under permission number 723959. Crowd Property is not covered by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. There are risks with any loans you make, and just like all peer-to-peer lending, your capital is at risk. Crowd Property endeavours to protect all lenders. This is done by registering the legal first charge against the property project. This means that in the very unlikely event a borrower defaults on the loan, Crowd Property will be able to take ownership of the project and manage it for the lenders. So let me introduce you then to the borrowers on this particular project. It's owned by Bridge House SPV Limited. Their company number 11402454, and the directors are Diksesh Patel and Jeremy Wormington. I'm delighted they both joined us on this webinar today. Let's start off first by speaking with you, Diksesh, if that's okay. Tell us a little bit more about your background and what you've done to date.
Yeah, I mean, my background, I've spent over 25 years in investment banking. Originally started off as a technology geek, and then over that period of time in the background, built up a nice little buy-to-let portfolio. And about 3 years ago, I decided to hang up my investment banking boots and move into full-time property development. And here we are today.
But you do also have your own capital group, don't you?
Yeah, so what I do is Jeremy is one of the key partners on this particular project, and one of the things that I can bring to the table is actually bringing funding to the table and also manage all investor relationships, and that's an area that continues to grow as well within the company.
So let's come across then to you, please, Jeremy. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so I've got quite a varied background. I had 23 years as an army officer. And saw quite a variety of actions and activities within that time. Decided that it was time to move on a number of years ago now, and initially went into leadership and development and fitness training, and then more latterly joined Serco, where I was in charge of firstly scientists, but then latterly I was the director for the bike scheme in London, the Boris bikes, as we infamously know them as. And I decided to buy a house, completely gutted it and everything else, and I enjoyed the process. So I thought, okay, there's more to life than working in the corporate world. So I decided to go out and get myself educated, learn about different strategies, and now I have a number of HMO properties, and I'm looking at also as well as doing commercial to residential conversions.
Now, both of your main companies are major shareholders in the Bridge House SPV Limited, and you've also chosen your main contractor on this development. Tell us a little bit more about them and why you've chosen them.
So Depache came to us because we're both members of a property networking group called Candor, run by Matt Siddell. And one of the other members of Candor is also a director of Depache, so they came to us that way, really. And we just struck up conversation with them, started talking more about what they could offer, and we just felt their values were very much in tune with ours. And yeah, things just progressed from there. They're a very experienced contractor. They do a lot of stuff, particularly commercial to residential, nationwide. Although they're based in Doncaster, they've currently just finished a project, I know, down in Brighton, and they've done Taunton, and they've got another one ongoing at the moment in Portsmouth, which is where I also have a couple of HMOs.
Well, if anybody wants to know any more about the main contractor, their website is depache.com, as you can see there on your screen. Let's start talking about this project then, which is Bridge House Station Road in Lichfield. And it's a refurbishment and conversion of a former commercial premises. It's going to become 22 new self-contained flats. and Crowd Property has agreed a development loan facility of £1.5 million. This is going to be raised over 4 phases, and today we're talking about the first phase raise, which is £425,000, and it's going to be done on a serviced retained basis. I'll explain what that means in just a few moments. So the loan then of this first phase is going to be for about 18 months, and lenders will receive interest monthly at the equivalent rate per annum of 8%. The property located about 200 metres southeast of Lichfield city centre, and there's a photo of it there on the right-hand side. The borrower then proposing to refurbish and convert this commercial premises into those self-contained flats. So let's start off then by finding out more about the local area. Tell us a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind, Jeremy, about the city of Lichfield.
So Lichfield is the second smallest city in the country. So it's a population of a little over 30,000 people, because it has a beautiful cathedral, and it's been a historic city for many centuries, and therefore within the local area, it is relatively wealthy. It's quite a prosperous city. You walk around the city centre itself, and there's very few of independent traders, and therefore empty premises, very few of the charity shops, which is at odds against many other city centres nowadays. So from that point of view, Lichfield, it's a beautiful city. It attracts a lot of retirees to the area as well, and also people who just want to having a more of an outdoors way of life, with Cannock Chase just around the corner.
And of course, it's located just north of Birmingham, so it's got 2 great airports nearby, whether that be the Birmingham Airport or indeed it could be the East Midlands Airport as well, both of those quite close to Lichfield. Now, planning permission has been granted by Lichfield District Council, and their planning reference is 18/01598/FULM, where permission has been granted for the conversion and refurbishment of a commercial building into 22 self-contained flats, and that includes part demolition as well. And then there's going to be some side extensions built and creation of a second floor, which in total comes to 10,419 square feet. The maximum loan term is for 18 months, and this facility is going to be raised in 4 phases, with interest on the first phase only being retained to service the lenders and paying them the interest monthly. This project will be first charge secured, and then once the borrowers have completed the conversion works, they then will sell the flats on the open market. Here are the location maps showing where the property is in Lichfield. You can see the Crowd Property flag there on the right hand side pointing to Lichfield. You see where that is in relation to Birmingham and Wolverhampton. On the left hand side, you see where it is in relation to the city of Lichfield. You see close there to the railway line in this particular area. So here's a little bit more then about the location. It's on the corner of Station Road, on the edge of a commercial area, which in more recent times has seen a number of residential developments close by. Lots of primary and secondary schools nearby, as you would imagine, and Lichfield benefits from bus and train links across the West Midlands. The city centrally located in the UK road network, with the M6 toll, the M6, M42 and M5 all within close proximity of the city. Then local interest, well, Lichfield first established in 50 AD as a Roman military fortress and became a civilian settlement in the 2nd century. It's got its own football and cricket teams, and there are 4 golf courses nearby. And as we heard Jeremy mention earlier, Lichfield Cathedral, it's a well-known tourist attraction which dates back to the 13th century. Here then is the proposed developments. It comprises of a mix of 22 1- and 2-bedroom flats. You can see there the various square footages on your screen and whether they're 1 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms. Some of them have got their own entrance, some of them have got terraces, and some have got patios as well. The total gross development value is £2.695 million with vacant possession. And remember, the borrower is going to sell off the flats once the development has completed. So coming to you, Jeremy, just before we go and look at the floor plans, who do you think will be wanting to buy these properties from you?
I think it's going to be quite a range of people. I think with the smaller flats, the 1 beds, that they're going to be particularly attracted to the first-time buyer, particularly with Help to Buy, which we'll put on the scheme. And those flats as well will probably be popular with investors as well who want to sort of have their own portfolio. With the larger ones, I think generally I would expect them to look out more for the retiree market, particularly those who've got the terraces outside. There's a couple of nice terraces to the one side, but so I think it's going to be a range of people.
And looking at the photo there, each of the flats presumably have got their own parking space.
There's not enough space for one parking space per flat, but it will be, we've got 11 parking spaces within the scheme.
And how did you come across the project? How did you first find it?
So this came to me through I think it's through Rightmove initially, and so I got in touch with the agents and did a viewing, and things progressed from there.
Let's then look at the floor plans. This is the ground floor. It's ground first and second. What are you going to be doing then here on the ground floor plan?
So because this has gone through a number of iterations with planning, the initial application was for prior approval of the building that you saw on a previous slide. So with prior approval, we can't change the external structure of the building. So therefore, you've got that core area in the middle of flats 1 to 6, where that's on the ground, and then similarly on the first floor. And then we've knocked away the 2 side units that are currently there to enable us to use the space more effectively. So that's where we came then into the planning side of life. So it has been a sort of a 2-phase approach on this.
And then how many flats are you proposing on the ground floor?
On the ground floor, we're predominantly looking at one beds in the main core area. Those are the smaller units, and then when you go out to the sides, that's when we expect to have where we have the larger flats. So we've got 1 2-bed on the side, but the remainder are all 1 beds. We've got some of them then at the back, as you can see, which have smaller patio areas. On the first floor, similar concept in the main area where we've got 5 flats, but then we've managed to sort of put in another flat over on the left-hand side, 13. But then over on the right-hand side, that's where we have the really nice larger flats, all at around the 60 square meters, 2 beds with nice terraces, which face out to the east. And then on the third floor, this is all brand new then, where we've complied with national space standards. Again, we've got nice big 2-bedroom flats on the side, and then the remainder being larger 1-bedroom flats. And on this floor, we would have another 7 flats. So 7 on each level.
And looking at the square footages of some of these flats, some of them are actually quite sizable, aren't they?
What is one of the nice things about the scheme is that we do have such a range of flat sizes. We do go down to the smaller sizes. We've got some that currently are less than 35, and I think once we actually get into the project, we can probably squeeze those to get them up to 35 square meters. But we're sort of in that 35 to 37, 38 square meter size. But then we've got some that are in the low 40s, low to mid 40s with 1 beds, and even actually we've got a couple that have hit 50. So we've got quite a good range, I think, on the 1 beds. That's why I think we'll attract both the first time buyer and also those who are looking to invest for their long-term future. But then we've got some really nice 2-bedroom flats as well, which I say, well, I think particularly with the outside space, will attract the retiree market.
Then when we then look at the elevations, talk us through the kind of design that you wanted to create here.
We wanted to create something really quite contemporary, and that was in keeping with the area, because they've got a new development to the other side of the railway line. I say new, it's been there for about five years or so. So we wanted something in keeping with that. But we also wanted something that actually made a bit of a statement, and therefore that's why we went for the roof structure that we have done, the window shapes and the breaking up of the frontage. So it's not just looks like a dull block of flats, so to speak. We want something that people will feel proud and happy to live there.
And it has got some character as well, sort of modern design with the different shaped windows as well. Does give quite a variety there looking at it. Now, the independent monitoring surveyor has inspected the property, reviewed the construction documentation and has reported the following. So the construction costs have been confirmed as £1,300,800. This is in line with the BCIS market average prices for conversions of this nature and equates to £124.85 per square foot. The construction expected to commence in June and will be for 13 months, which the independent monitoring surveyor considers to be appropriate. The borrower is still to confirm the discharge of some standard pre-commencement planning conditions, although the papers have been submitted to the Lichfield planners, and the borrower are still to appoint a building control officer, but they do expect that to be ICW. Now, informally, Network Rail has agreed to their standard form of basic asset protection agreement, which the standard agreement when working with adjacent to the mainline railway, and the works will be executed by Depache Property Concepts, which we heard earlier, and the works will be procured under a JCT intermediate form of building contract 2016. We've got a couple of case studies here as well to share with investors about what you've done previously. This one is in Kingston upon Thames. Talk us through what you did here.
Yeah, no, so we acquired this property over probably about 12 to 15 months ago as a residential property. As you can see, they're 3-bedroom detached. We eventually gained planning for 6 apartments, quite sizable ones there. And once we gained the planning, we've sold it on to a developer. And this is actually sold for £1.415 million with a sizable profit there.
Here's case study 2. This is Sycamore Road in Farnborough. What did you do here?
So this particular project is actually going through planning as we speak, and we're at the appeal stage. So eventually, once we get 10 2-bedroom flats here, again, this particular project will also be sold on to a developer, and the actual gross development value there is once we've gained the planning value and then the associated profits there as well. So another exciting turnaround.
So those are 2 great case studies. Let's come back then to this project at Bridge House. So the total loan facility is £1.5 million, which will be raised in 4 phases. The first being £425,000, the second £375,000, the third is £400,000, and the 4th phase is £300,000. RICS have verified the current market value to be £720,000. And they've based the total gross development value at £2.695 million. The estimated conversion costs are £1,300,800. The initial net release on day 1 will be £330,000. That's to replace the existing lender. The initial loan to value is 45.8% when you exclude the interest and 55.55% when you include the interest. And the loan based on the gross development value, including interest, is 59.5%. And then when you exclude the interest, is 55.65%. It's a minimum loan period of 6 months, maximum loan term of 18 months. And this loan is targeted to start on the 19th of June 2020, but only after the legal documents have been executed. Remember, the exit strategy is that the borrower will sell the flats following the completion of the works, and lenders will be paid the equivalent of 8% per annum interest. But on this first phase, that is going to be paid to lenders monthly. And as ever, Crowd Property will take first charge security against the property and will register that at Land Registry. So thank you for watching this webinar. I hope you're able to fund us with this exciting project. This is the first phase of 4. We're looking to raise £425,000, please. That's for approximately 18 months at the rate of 8% per annum. And this is going to be paid monthly on this very first phase. And this is for Bridge House, Station Road, Lichfield, WS13 6HX. Now, your next steps then are to make sure that you understand the loan, carry out your own due diligence both on this project and on the development team, and then decide how much you would like to lend. Crowdproperty.com is the place to be to pledge on launch, and then those successfully pledging will have the necessary anti-money laundering checks carried out, and then you'll be invited to send your funds to your own online e-wallet when it's called for, and you'll start earning that interest on completion of the loan agreement. So thank you for watching this webinar. We hope you will join us again soon here at crowdproperty.com, where we'll have some more funding opportunities in the not too distant future.